Hi, welcome to Fact Jack of All Trade channel. In this video, we will be sharing on our opinion on how we think the famous Titanic sank. The Titanic didn't sink the way you think. This isn't just a story about an iceberg, it's a story of human error, ignored warnings, and catastrophic decisions. When the Titanic left port on April 10, 1912, it wasn't just the largest ship in the world. It was a symbol of progress, an engineering marvel. But beneath the polished exterior lay cracks that no one could see. To meet tight deadlines, the ship's construction was rushed. Cheaper materials were used, including weak iron rivets that held the hull together. Experts later discovered that these rivets buckled under pressure, tearing the ship open like a zipper when it hit the iceberg. The Titanic wasn't unsinkable. It was fragile, and nobody knew it. On April 14th, the Titanic received 6 separate warnings of icebergs ahead. Ships in the area urged caution. Yet Captain Edward Smith didn't slow down. Why? Because reaching New York early would establish Titanic's reputation as the greatest ship ever built. But the ship's lookouts faced another problem: no binoculars. A key box containing their binoculars was left behind, locked and inaccessible. By the time they spotted the iceberg, it loomed just 500 meters away. In that moment, the decision was made: turn the ship.
When the Titanic hit the iceberg, it tore several holes in the ship's side, causing water to flood in. Now, the ship was designed with these compartments that could contain flooding if the hull got damaged. And if up to 4 of these compartments became compromised, the ship would still be able to float. But the iceberg ripped into 6 of them near the bow of the ship, and they began to rapidly flood. This made the bow sink into the water, causing the back half to lift into the air. Eventually, the middle section couldn't support the weight and broke in half, and both sides sank to the ocean floor.
Ironically, this attempt to dodge the iceberg caused the greatest damage. Instead of hitting it head-on, which might have limited the flooding to 1 or 2 compartments, the iceberg scraped along the side, puncturing 6 compartments and sealing the ship's fate. Titanic wasn't sunk by an iceberg alone. It was sunk by a series of human choices and errors. The Titanic had lifeboats for just over half of the people on board. Not because of space, there was room for more, but because too many lifeboats ruined the aesthetic.
Well, he said, "You'll have to jump now into the lifeboat." I said, "Jump? With this thing I've got on? What do you think I am, an acrobat or a monkey or something?"
There were less people saved from the steerage class.
That's right.
Than there were from the first
Quite
class.
right, because they were not allowed to go on first class deck.
I don't doubt that they were playing music. But when people say that music played as the ship went down, that is a ghastly, horrible lie.
There was women and children in the boat all night, but they never spoke. They just sat back down and waited to get picked up.
Then the horrible fear was in my heart, and I think everybody else's, that the dreadful, dreadful suction that had drawn us towards the Titanic would suck us under the Titanic.
Passengers were left screaming for help as the ship tilted into the freezing Atlantic. Over 1,500 people died that night. Not because there weren't enough lifeboats, but because arrogance blinded the planners. When the Titanic sank, it wasn't just passengers who drowned. It was the reputation of the White Star Line, the ship's owners. To protect themselves, they downplayed the tragedy.
White Star Line dealt with the Titanic disaster as best it could, and it seems incredible that in what is possibly one of the greatest PR redemptions of all time, they reintroduced Olympic in 1913 after an extensive refit with a massive suite of safety enhancements and features. She was advertised as the new Olympic, and that 1913 season was one of her most profitable. It seems incredible, but even with Titanic having been lost, The lessons were learned and the general public still needed to cross the Atlantic. White Star Line was back in the game, but they had an issue. Olympic and Titanic were supposed to replace 3 or 4 of their older liners, but this was not meant to last for long, because still under construction was White Star Line's 3rd and final Olympic-class sister. She would be named Britannic.
Survivors' accounts were dismissed. Investigations avoided placing blame on human error. The world was told the iceberg was to blame, as if the disaster was inevitable. But the truth was buried with the wreckage. Titanic didn't have to sink. It sank because human ego, greed, and pride refused to see the danger ahead. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that uncover the truth behind history's biggest events.